Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 17 of our TEW PWG series. Today we bring you Buried in the Sound, which is the title of a very recent song released by a singer called Olivia White. The latest episode was Welcome in the Jungle. Before that we had Don't Forget Who You Are, and recently before that we had Deep in Shallow Water, which is sung by Bryce Vine. So we're getting a few song references in there. Last time out, Samoa Joe made his in-ring return for PWG as he was defeated by our world champion Brody King. Also on the show, Mexa Blood defeated Dragon Lee and Laredo Kid. Willie Mack beat Freddie and Tony Depper. Caveman and Aussie Open defeated Robbie Eagles and the Velocities. Alex Hammerstone beat Chris Dickinson. Myron Reed beat Tracy Williams, and Powerhouse Will Hobbs defeated Christian Casanova in what was the debut of both competitors. Today we will get right into things here, live from the Globe Theatre as we kick off in front of 782 people with the big debut bout. As in a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Dragon Lee defeated Hedy Karoy in 1440 via pinfall with an Operation Dragon. The match got a 65. Dragon Lee with a 75, Hedy with a 38. His gimmick got an initial rating of very good. It was a little too short for an important match in the eyes of our audience, despite the match being a star versus someone who is actively viewed as unimportant. The match got the show off to a strong start as Dragon Lee gets an impressive 75. If his performance was one rating higher, then he would have doubled the performance of Hedy, who is a fantastic technician. I saw him in a match against Matt Mikowski at Bloodsport over WrestleMania weekend around a month and a half ago. It feels like a foreign time, that does. But it was a fantastic sub 10 minute bout. It's up there with Tomohiro Ishii versus Katsuyori Shibata as one of the best under 10 minute contests that I have ever seen in my life. Fantastic technical exhibition from both men, which is something that he brought here tonight, a technical bout between himself and the luchador Dragon Lee. But in the end, the Mexican high flyer beats France's finest. There we go. I've just got a bit of 1980s football on the TV at the minute randomly. I didn't actually mean to turn it on. I've got on mute, and there's Arsenal against Liverpool. If anyone's wondering, Arsenal are 1-0 up. A great nutmeg from one of the Arsenal attackers sent the lone forward through, but he couldn't find the back of the net there. A very interesting bit of commentary there for myself. I'm sure that's what you all came here for. 1989 Premier League football. Obviously back before was actually the Premier League, back when it was the English First Division. Moving on, we have Will Hobbs versus Lucas Riley in a bout between two of California's finest. You might not know who Lucas Riley is. He is someone who I've seen a very little bit of in the Santino Bros Wrestling Academy. He is touted to be the breakout star of the next year and a half or so in SoCal. Will Hobbs defeats Lucas Riley with a power slam in 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Will Hobbs with a 46, Lucas Riley with a 29. Lucas Riley got a lot of static from a vocal crowd who clearly weren't impressed, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that this is Will Hobbs' second appearance in the company. Obviously, we had to import him from a later date RWC and add him to the company as one of California's best. So, if you're wondering why his performance is a little bit low, that is why we need some room for growth and popularity to implement where he would have been at that stage of his career, because obviously in this he's not actually in AEW, so that will hinder his growth just a little bit. Some fantastic dribbling from Liverpool's number 7, who's just been wiped out by Arsenal's holding midfielder. Disgraceful challenge. Only a yellow card, surprisingly, from the referee. Would have been a red card in real life. As we move forward to a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, as the Dynasty's Alexander Hammerstone defeats Tony Depper in 13:37 by pinfall with a Stonebreaker following botched interference from Fred Yehai. Hammerstone was playing dirty. He took the turnbuckle cover off. Yehai tried to inform the referee of this. That distraction caused Hammerstone to get the victory. Yehai was trying to even the odds and help out his good buddy, his good friend Tony Depper, but unfortunately his efforts were in jest. He wasn't able to do it. Hammerstone steals the win with the Stonebreaker. getting a 61 to Depper's 60 as both men have great chemistry, which showed in their performances. As a result, we may have to revisit this contest in the future, as this is Hammerstone's second win in a row, as in the last episode he did defeat the Dirty Daddy Chris Dickinson. The fans were turned off by the finish to this match, and it was too short for an important match in the eyes of our audience. The audience aren't liking a lot, are they? Very angry tonight, very agitated, they're moaning a lot. After the match, we have tag team action, as in about that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Caveman, Ugg and Robbie Eagles are victorious. Of course, they were on opposing sides in 6-man tag team action last month, where Caveman Ugg teamed with Aussie Open to defeat Robbie Eagles and the Velocities. They defeat the pairing of Lee Moriarty and Willie Mack in 1548, when Robbie Eagles submitted Lee Moriarty. I'm not sure if Eagles' submission maneuver is in the mod at this point, since we are using August's RWC edition, which is of course 9.5 months old at this point. For anyone wondering, his submission hold is the Ron Miller special lock. Robbie Eagles with a 67, the best performance of the match. Ugg with a 62, Willie Mack with a 65 and Moriarty with a 59. Ugg and Robbie Eagles showed excellent chemistry teaming together, so maybe, just maybe, they will have to become a regular fixture, because let's be honest, the teams we have Depper and Yehai, we have Mexa Blood, we have the Velocities and Aussie Open. They would have fantastic tag team bouts with all of them. Some excellent dribbling from Liverpool's number 12 there, but his shot was straight at the keeper. But yeah, a great tag team match there, gets the crowd buzzing, you love to see it. As next on we have a 56, when about that had superb wrestling and good heat, Myron Reed defeated Fred Yehai in 1534 via pinfall. Using the ropes for leverage, he rolled up Fred Yehai after Fred Yehai was cracked over the skull thanks to interference from Tony Depper, which hasn't been put in this despite being put in this. That's dumb. I actively added that. Hey yo, fuck that, man. TEW has some weird flaws for a game that's been out a year at this point. But anyways, Freddie I gets a 62 to Reed 63. Myron Reed got the win in 15.5 minutes. A tainted win. Both men have great chemistry, so maybe we'll have to actually see Yehai versus Myron again in the future. Or maybe, just maybe, we could see Yehai and Depper against the team of Myron and Hammerstone. This match gets the crowd hot up, but we won't see that tag team match, because after the match, Depper beats Fred Yehai down. He smacks him over the skull repeatedly with a big PWG branded microphone before stating to the California fan base, the sellout crowd here in California, don't pretend that you didn't expect this. You knew it was coming. I've been trying to suppress this for months. The feelings that I get, the bitterness, the hatred, the jealousy, the resentment. But Fred, this wasn't on me. This wasn't my fault. You did this to yourself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that the fan favourite tag team combination of Tony Depper and Fred Yehai has come to an end. The short-lived, unlikely alliance, the formidable unit, has fallen apart. We followed this up with a 53, where Brody King defeats Eric Royal, someone who has been suggested by our fans before. In the comments down below, he is someone who I saw compete at WrestleMania weekend. I want to say against Daniel McAbey, who's one of my favourite junior heavyweight competitors on the planet. Eric Royal with a huge opportunity tonight, but he couldn't quite defeat PWG's World Heavyweight Champion, the most dominant man in the entire state of California. Brody King gets a 67 in his 10-minute victory, pinning Eric Royal with a Gonzo Bomb. His supreme gimmick for Eric was adequate. This will be the last time we see Eric Royal, just because I want to build the future a little bit, and he's not quite a spring chicken at this stage of his career. But a very good adversary for Brody King, as the match gets a 53. After the match, Brody King receives a challenge from a man who won earlier tonight, and that is former IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Dragon Lee. He comes out, he picks up the microphone, and he says to Mr. King, I want to fight you. I want your championship. All-Star weekend. And then some music hits. You might recognise it if you've been watching a bit of New Japan or if you've been watching PWG a few years ago, because it's another former PWG World Heavyweight Champion, England's finest, Zack Sabre Jr. He issues a challenge to Brody King too. Brody King shakes both of their hands, and next month at All-Star Weekend, Brody King will defend the World's Heavyweight Championship in arguably his biggest test yet, as he is challenged by both Dragon Lee and Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best luchadors on the planet, one of the best straight up technicians on the planet, and one of the best powerhouses in the nation of California. And it's an interesting one because Brody King, despite being on a hot roll of momentum, he could lose the championship without actually being pinned or submitted. So it is interesting to see who will leave the Globe Theatre as champion then. Next up, we have a 69 rated main event as in a bout that had superb wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Velocities defeated Aussie Open and Mexa Blood in 1739 when Jude the Dude London pins Kyle Fletcher with the Vendetta to retain the World's Tag Team Championships for the first time here in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Their first defense since winning those belts just a few months ago at the tail end of 2022, I want to say. Mark Davis with a 60 to Fletcher's 64. Flamita with a 73 to Bandito's phenomenal 88. Paris with a 68, Jude with a 66. A lot of chemistry and bonuses there. Kyle Fletcher gets better at his gimmick, and the show gets a 65 rating, with that main event tag team championship bout being the match of the night. Performance wise, we'll praise Bandito, Dragon Lee. Is there anyone else who warrants praise? I can't think of anyone who actually performed out of this world, so we'll give it Flamita because he was quite solid and he has come quite a long way in this save. He's someone that is having interesting performance rating in Oliver Taylor's PWG series, which should be linked down below. It's a very interesting series. He's done some very good work there, and he's brought one of the best competitors in the world back to PWG, and it's interesting to see where that storyline goes. If you want to know who it is, then you will of course have to check that out using the link that is in the description down below. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, next up we come to you with All-Star Weekend in the next episode. Both nights, maybe one episode, I'd imagine it will be, to make it a big bumper packed episode. We have some emails here. Lucas Riley's gone from PWG. Chris Dickinson's cracked his tailbone. We now have an above average sized event, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you now that the main event for night 2 of All-Star Weekend will be Brody King defending against Dragon Lee and Zack Sabre Jr. What will be the main event of night 1? You will have to find out in the next episode. If you have any suggestions or any predictions, then do let me know in the comments down below. I've been NLG, and I hope you've had a very lovely time watching this episode, and I hope to see you all next week for All-Star Weekend.